Imagine you're deep in the wilderness, thousands of years before cities, before medicine, before hospitals. The sun is setting. The nearest shelter is nothing more than a small hut made from branches and animal hides. A woman suddenly doubles over in pain. Her breathing becomes heavier. The contractions are getting closer. There are no doctors, no nurses, no painkillers, no emergency room waiting just a few minutes away. Only a few experienced women from her community, and the hope that both mother and baby survive the night. Today, giving birth without medical care sounds almost impossible. So here's the question to how did ancient women bring new life into the world when hospitals didn't even exist? The answer is far more incredible and far more dangerous than most people imagine. For most of human history, childbirth wasn't considered a special medical event. It was simply part of life. Women gave birth in forests, inside caves, near rivers, in simple huts built from wood, mud, or stone. Sometimes they were traveling with their group when labor began. There was no perfect place. Nature decided the timing, not humans. But that doesn't mean these women were alone. Across nearly every ancient culture we know, experienced older women played a remarkable role. Today we call them midwives, and back then they weren't trained in universities. Their knowledge came from something much older, experience. Generation after generation, they watched births, helped mothers, remembered what worked, and quietly passed those lessons to their daughters. It was one of humanity's oldest forms of medical knowledge, and it may have saved countless lives. But even with that wisdom, childbirth remained terrifying. Human babies are different from almost every other animal. And that difference changed everything. Millions of years ago, our ancestors evolved to walk upright. That gave us free hands to make tools and carry food, but it also narrowed the shape of the female pelvis. Then something else happened. Human brains kept getting bigger. Every generation, larger heads, smarter children, a tighter space for birth. Scientists often describe this as one of evolution's greatest compromises. Walking efficiently and giving birth safely, we're constantly pulling the human body in opposite directions. No other primate faces this challenge in quite the same way. Which raises another mystery. If birth became so difficult, how did humans survive long enough to spread across the entire planet? Part of the answer lies in cooperation. Unlike many animals that give birth completely alone, humans evolved into a deeply social species. Anthropologists believe assistance during childbirth may have existed for hundreds of thousands of years, not because it was a luxury, because it became a survival strategy. An extra pair of hands could help support the mother, guide the baby, calm fear, protect against infection as much as possible with the knowledge they had. Even simple emotional support could make an enormous difference. But don't imagine clean white rooms. Picture smoke from a fire drifting through the air, animal skins covering the ground, boiling water heated with stones, herbs gathered from nearby forests, simple cords made from plant fibers or animal sinew. Everything came directly from nature, and surprisingly, some of those natural practices may have been more effective than people expect. Many traditional societies used certain plants to reduce pain, slow bleeding, or help clean wounds. Modern scientists have studied several of these herbs and discovered that some really do contain natural compounds with medicinal effects. Of course, not every remedy worked. Some were helpful, others were simply based on belief. Ancient people didn't understand bacteria or viruses, yet through generations of observation, many communities unknowingly developed habits that reduced risk. They often cleaned the birth area as best they could. Fresh water was valued whenever it was available. Fire wasn't just for warmth, its heat helped boil water and clean simple tools, not because they understood germs, but because experience taught them better outcomes. Still, nothing could eliminate the greatest danger, bleeding. Even today, severe bleeding after birth remains one of the leading causes of maternal death in many parts of the world without proper medical care. Imagine facing that danger with nothing but herbs, cloth, and hope. There were no blood transfusions, no emergency surgery, no antibiotics. If something went wrong, there was often nothing anyone could do, and that wasn't the only threat. Sometimes the baby was positioned sideways, sometimes labor lasted for days. Sometimes the baby simply couldn't pass through the birth canal. Modern hospitals solve many of these emergencies with procedures like cesarean sections. Ancient communities had no such option. For countless mothers, the outcome depended entirely on luck, experience, and the strength of their bodies. It's a heartbreaking reality hidden behind humanity's survival story. Yet despite those risks, our ancestors kept having children, generation after generation, because every successful birth meant the future of the entire community. One healthy baby wasn't just another mouth to feed. It was another hunter, another gatherer, another protector, another chance for the group to survive. That made childbirth something the whole community cared about. Archaeologists have uncovered graves where mothers and newborns were buried together, silent reminders that not every story had a happy ending. These discoveries reveal something deeply human. Love, hope, and loss have always been part of our story. But then researchers noticed something even more surprising. Human babies are born incredibly helpless compared to many other mammals. A newborn deer can stand within hours. A human baby can't even lift its own head. Why? Because our large brains continue developing after birth. If babies stayed in the womb until their brains were fully developed, their heads would become too large to pass safely through the mother's pelvis. So evolution found another solution. Babies arrived earlier, still developing, still dependent, which meant mothers needed help long after labor ended. This may have shaped one of humanity's greatest strengths. Families, grandparents, communities, people helping each other raise children. Some scientists even believe this cooperation played a major role in human success across the world. In other words, the story of childbirth may also be the story of why humans became so connected to one another. And here's something most people never think about. Every single person alive today is here because somewhere in the distant past, an ancient woman survived one of the most dangerous moments of her life. Your family line stretches back through thousands of mothers, Ice Age mothers, hunter-gatherer mothers, women who gave birth beneath open skies, inside caves, beside rivers, during storm, during migrations, without hospitals, without machines, without modern medicine, yet somehow they endured. Their courage was never written into history books. Most never had their names recorded. But every heartbeat alive today carries part of their story. The next time you walk past a hospital maternity ward or hear the cry of a newborn baby, remember that for almost all of human history, birth happened far away from bright lights and modern technology. It happened in the raw world of nature, where every new life was a victory, every surviving mother was a miracle, and every child became proof that humanity had survived one more generation.